All right, let's jump into this Tampa Bay Dallas game. The total is around 51. Tampa Bay's favored by 2.5 on the road. Who do you like in the captain spot for this game?
So I think, CeeDee Lamb is probably the best bet. When the Cowboys drafted him in the first round in 2020, this is the exact game I was looking forward to. He's entering year three, and this will be the first time he's playing without either Amari Cooper or Michael Gallup. Obviously, Gallup should be able to return hopefully in the next couple of weeks. But the CeeDee Lamb is going to begin his career year starting this week. He's only 23 years old. He's entering year three. He is entering his prime. So love him in the captain slot. I think he's probably going to be pretty chalky there, but I think the sneaky captain play is Leonard Fournette. I like him there because he can thrive really in any game script, whether the Bucs are winning or trailing. So you can make a lot of unique lineups with your flex slot with that in mind. You can make some game script lineups for, the Bucs winning by a lot or losing by a lot. Everything works with Leonard Fournette. So I like his versatility in the captain slot. Plus, they should use him a ton here. The Bucs, we could talk about it in a bit, but they have a ton of offensive line issues heading into this game. So they might lean on Lenny, with direct carries or even dump offs a bit more in this matchup. So love Leonard Fournette in the captain slot.
I think Leonard Fournette is going to see a big workload in this game. Dallas has some O-line issues too.
Yep.
They lost Tyron Smith. Those splits with and without him are always pretty stark. So I think it's going to be a game where you could actually go off just even the main studs. Like when these two teams played last year, you had 200-yard receivers for Dallas, 200-yard receivers for Tampa Bay, another 90-yard receiver. There was a lot going on there. So I like Julio and Russell Gage or Godwin if he shoots up, because I looked at the box score from the last matchup, and Tom Brady targeted down like non-Trayvon Diggs corners a ton. He targeted Anthony Brown 10 times, and he targeted Jordan Lewis 9 times. So those guys are going to be running matched up with likely Julio and Gage. If Godwin's back, I think Godwin will probably get that slot matchup with Lewis. But I want those guys because Mike Evans is probably going to see a ton of digs, and especially with like you said, the O-line issues. How much is Brady really going to stand in there and target digs? This might not be a big Mike Evans game unless they can kind of move him around and get him off him. But I could see one of these sneaky guys, like one of the third or fourth receivers on the Bucs, come up big here. And Brady even said it. He was like, we're going to replace Gronk's production and with the wide receivers. So I could see them using Julio and Gage quite a bit. And I could see Brady target him like 8, 9, 10 times, and they could clear the 100-yard, get the 3-point bonus. So this is a game where I'm not even going with just the studs. Like I want those kind of middle tier guys, so I could fit the max amount of like middle tier guys in my lineup, because that's what you needed last time as well.
Yeah, Godwin looks like he missed practice today, so he's definitely looking shaky to suit up. And obviously Gage is dealing with his injury. So this will be the healthiest Julio Jones is all season, right? So I don't mind him at all. He looked sharp in preseason. Not gonna lie, I didn't know he was number 85 when he caught that one pass from Brady. I was like, who the hell? He looks pretty good. I was like, oh, it's Julio Jones. He's 85 though, but he looks spry. So yeah, I kind of like the Julio call in the captain slot as well.
All right, what about some cheap guys, some dart throws?
So I think Cam Brate is sneaky just due to the uncertainty with the Bucs wide receivers. Brate might be sneaky. I think when it comes to Tom Brady probably seeing a bit more pressure in this game. He's Ali Marpet retired, Ryan Jensen's on the IR, Marpet's backup, Aaron Stiney is on the IR, and then Tristan Wirfs is now banged up with oblique injury. So, Brady might see a bit more pressure here. And last season, when Brady was under pressure, he targeted Cam Brate a lot more. Brate's target share jumped from 7% to 11% when Brady was under pressure. So I love Brate here. I think he's sneaky. And then Noah Brown. I think Noah Brown was made for showdown slates. It's sort of up in the air how Dallas is going to handle snaps outside of CeeDee Lamb when it comes to the wide receivers. Jalen Tolbert is the guy that we've talked about. He was expected to be, the wide receiver 2 when Michael Gallup was out to begin the season, but he's been a bit shaky in camp and in preseason. So it could be Noah Brown who actually steps up. I mean, he's been in the offense the past couple seasons. He would typically run a route like 20% of the time, even when everybody is healthy, sort of in an annoying way. But I think Brown could easily run a route over 60% of the dropbacks here. And I definitely like him for the showdown slate.
Yeah, Noah Brown is, I would expect him he could potentially start. He could be the number 2 wide receiver. Cause like you said, Tolbert has kind of been shaky. I mean, maybe he breaks out. I still think he's got some talent, but from everything it sounds like, a lot of these other guys are making noise or not making noise, but just being a little bit more reliable. Simi Fehoko, Noah Brown. So I think it is going to be kind of a committee there, but from what I'm hearing out of camp for this Dallas team, they think that they have, it was true. Their offense was more efficient last year, early in the year when they had Blake Jarwin and they were running those 2 tight end sets with Dalton Schultz and Blake Jarwin. And so I think they go back to that in this game. So I actually like Jake Ferguson, the rookie tight end. He's been playing really well in preseason, and I think he's a guy he's going to be super low owned because everyone's going to try to figure out which Cowboy receiver. But Jake Ferguson out of Wisconsin, little 6'5", 250, tight end, can catch the ball though a little bit, and I think he's a decent bet for a long shot touchdown. Yeah. And I think you're going to see him on the field like a good 35-40% of the routes, just like Blake Jarwin, because they really have been talking about switching to that offense. And like they were more efficient on a per play basis before Jarwin went down. And then when they kind of switched to that, like 3-4 wide offense, they had some big games, but overall it was more up and down. So now they really have no choice. So I think Ferguson is a really sneaky guy for this one.
Yeah, love the backup tight end call to kick off the season. Yeah, I mean, like you said, all he needs is 1 catch for 5 yards and a touchdown, and he'd break the slate. So if you think he's gonna run 35% of the routes, sign me up for that. Yeah, I mean that's kind of, I think Jarwin was at like 37, and they really like him. So I think he's out there a good amount. I also like the defenses in this game because, as you mentioned, Bucs O-line issues. Maybe get some interior pressure. And on the other side, no Tyron Smith for Dallas. That's always an issue. Both of these teams can get pressure at a high rate. And both of these teams were top 5 last year in turnovers. Now, we know turnovers are, high variance from one year to the next, but these are still 2 talented defenses. You got a lot of guys that are going to be flying around. They're mostly healthy. So I think you could see some real chaos here. And for a dart throw, usually you're not going to play the defenses or the kickers, obviously, because they just don't have enough upside. But I think we could see a defensive touchdown and a ton of sacks from one or both of these defenses. Yeah. Do you like the under on this game? Yeah, I think that's where I'm going. I'll have a write-up on actionnetwork.com, but I just feel like, the O-line issues and, it's kind of this marquee game. So the total's still pretty high, but they run it. I know they go at a fast pace, but yeah, it's Stuckey and I talked about it on the Action Network pod. Dallas has about each team has like 300 yards missing from the box score from receiving from last matchup in week 1, because you have no Cedric Wilson, you have no Gallup, you have no Cooper, and then AB went off, Gronk went off, and Godwin went off, and none of those guys might be in the lineup. I probably will be on the under.